Here is grade 7, module 5, lesson 1. Our I can statement for today is I can evaluate expressions and solve real world problems involving rational number multiplication and division. So today we're going to focus on just multiplication, multiplying and dividing our rational numbers. So here are your rules. I definitely recommend putting these somewhere, maybe printing this out or writing this in a notebook, because these rules apply for multiplication and division. That's what our little sentence here says. So whether you're multiplying two numbers together or dividing them, the sign will be your determining factor on what your product or quotient will be. So remember, product is the answer to a multiplication problem, and a quotient is the answer to a division problem. So here we're going to practice. We're just doing product here. So this sign of your first factor, so 4 is positive. Okay, 4 is positive. And then our second factor is a -2, so that's going to be negative. Now, if we go back up to our little box here, the sign of the product when you have a positive for your first, so that's either going to be here or here. And then the sign of our second factor, so looking up on this side, we need a positive first and then a negative second. So we're going to go in this row, which means the sign of our product is going to be negative. Okay, so you just look through this box and you kind of figure out which row applies to that particular expression. So down here, number 1, again, I would recommend writing out your signs. You have a positive 584 and a negative 34. So we're going to go, I refer back up to our little chart up here. You have a positive, so we're either here or here for the first number. And now we have a negative again. So our product, the answer to our multiplication problem, is going to be negative. Here for number 2, we have a negative times a negative. So now we're going to look negative. So one of these rows. Now we're going to be down here. A negative times a negative will be a positive. Okay, so go through the rest of these. I would definitely start by writing the signs. So start by here. You can go negative times a positive. Negative divided by a negative. Again, with I have a positive divided by negative. The same rules apply, whether it is dividing or multiplying. So with multiplication and division, your signs matter. With adding and subtraction, that's when the size of the number matters. For here, just your signs. So pause your video, work through 3 through 9, and then when you think you have your answers, unpause, and they will be displayed for you. All right, so we have positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive 207, negative, and negative. And again, whether we're dividing or multiplying doesn't matter. We're just looking at our signs. So our answers will be negative, positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, and negative. One thing that I've noticed that's helpful, just a little rhyme to help you remember. If you have the same sign a positive times a positive, or a negative times a negative, I call that a perfect positive pair, meaning your answer will be positive. Or your quotient, your product or quotient will be positive. Perfect positive pair where they have the same sign, like right here or down here. If they aren't the same, a negative times a positive or positive times a negative, then your answer will be negative.